Hello. Today I'm going to be going over with you on how to make roasted vegetables the way that I make them. It's a great way to save money and it's also good for your health. First I'll be going over all of the ingredients that will be required to make the vegetables, not just the vegetables themselves, but also any baking dishes and as well as storage containers. So here's the ingredients that I use. Very simple. Some olive oil. Typically I wouldn't get this brand, but I would go for a brand that you can that's a little bit more nutritious. Don't go for anything that's super refined. I always do extra virgin. Italian seasoning, salt, pepper. For storing the vegetables once they're cut, I get a container like this. I usually need about 2 of them. And you can store them in the fridge. After you cut the vegetables, you can put them in here, store them in the fridge, and they're good to go for, I sometimes store them up to 4 or 5 days. You just take out the vegetables that you need and that you want to roast, and then put the rest back in the fridge. These are the 2 different sizes of baking dishes that I use. This I would use either for myself or myself and another person. This looks like this is an 11 by 7 glass baking dish. You could use metal, I'm not sure. I always use glass, and either way it's good to have glass for making casseroles. I think this is what is this one again? This is a 9.5 by 13, 3-quart. This is good for when I roast vegetables. I make enough for me, my mother, and my father. So yeah, you'll need one of the other. You don't need both, or you can get both, but you only need one. So as you can see, it's not very expensive to get vegetables. I bought all the vegetables I got for $18.34, less than 20 bucks, maybe a little around over $20. If you go to a farmer's market, it might be a little bit more expensive, but here's all the vegetables that I got. I got a buttercup squash. Usually I get butternut, but the butternuts weren't looking so good. A rutabaga, an acorn squash, some carrots, zucchini. You can also get summer zucchini or the yellow zucchinis. Onion. You don't have to use an onion, but I get an onion. I have these little baby potatoes. They tend to cook up. You don't really need to cut them or peel them. You can just rinse them and throw them in. And for my favorite, I love beets. These are the vegetables that I'm going to use, but I encourage you that after you try this, go out and try different types of vegetables. And when I'm doing this video, I'm going to go over the different hardness of which ones you need to cut up a little bit smaller, stuff like this. And the beets, they tend to be a little bit more dense. These you can cut more medium size. These can go large, and these can go about medium to small, and then these can be left alone. But I'll go over that with you as I'm cutting them and peeling them. So first I'm going to start with the rutabaga. Rutabaga is pretty hard. I like to get the tough guys out of the way first, which is usually a rutabaga, especially the buttercup squash and then the acorn squash. I use a knife. You can try using a peeler, but I'm really terrible with a peeler. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's get started. Alright, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to take and cut this end top off here, and then kind of cut this little rough bottom. And then toss it out. Has such a nice earthy smell to it. And then I just kind of go along the sides here and just kind of, just like that. It's got a nice waxy exterior to it. And the interior is like a really tough potato. But once it cooks up, it gets soft and it's very delicious. Alright, now I got the rutabaga peeled. Here's, as you see, I've peeled it all the way. And if I didn't mention before, make sure you wash all your vegetables before you start cutting them. Give them a good rinse and pat them off dry. See, I cut off the top, I cut off the bottom, kind of have it like that. I'm just going to take and do slices of them. Like that. No more than, I would say, about a 1/4 inch thick. And we're just going to keep slicing it down. If you get some big pieces, no problem. We can cut them up and make them small, but typically it helps them cook because, like I said, this is a very tough vegetable, or can be. All right, let's say you have no more slices you can get in because it gets a little dangerous. It's not a problem. We can just take and cut this in half like this and continue to slice it. Because now we got a flat surface. Because what we're going to be doing is making like little cubes of this. Alright, we got everything cut up. I'm just going to take and get these ends cut off. Try to make like a little square like that. And then I'll show you what to do with these little random end pieces here. But from here, I'm just going to take and cut it. Boom. Boom. And then we'll just cut them. Alright, now for the hardest one. The buttercup squash is really delicious, but it is hard to cut into, and this one's going to be a lot of fun. Usually, like I said, I get butternut squash, which is a more beige, oblong looking one. It's a little bit easier to cut and peel, but like I said, the ones at the store look kind of beat up. So as you see here at the end, I'm just going to try to cut this end off here, and try to cut this end off here. See, it's not very easy. There we go. Once you get into it and you get it cut, it's not a problem. And like I said, I'm going to do the same thing. I just have a top and a bottom that I've cut, and I'm just going to try to go here on the flesh and just peel off what I can, or cut off what I can. Okay, now we got most of this peeled finally. As you see, I've taken my shirt off because it's starting to get hot trying to peel this thing. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to go across the middle of it. Just slice her down the middle. Boom. I think you know what to do next with this. The next thing you're going to do is get a spoon, and we're just going to scoop this out. Just in case somebody's never seen it, this is how you get the insides of the buttercup squash. All right, now we're going to cut this, and the way I cut it is do like this. Just cut this end off, and then the rest of this we'll just cut into about 3/4 inch pieces. If you want to, you can always cut this in half. And then, either way, the point is just to get them in cubes. Like with this, I'm just gonna boom, and then the smaller you cut the vegetables, the faster they're gonna roast. So you can kind of see there. And the same, if they're like this big, what you can do is you can always just cut the chunks, boom, boom, like that. And then when you get these, you're just gonna cut them up. All right, so we're gonna cut the rest of this, and I'll show you the next vegetable that we'll be working on. All right, we have everything cut. This is pretty much the size that we're left with from the buttercup squash, and I'll show you what the container's looking like so far. So this is after like I said, just two vegetables, just the rutabaga and the and the buttercup squash. Alright, now we're going to do the carrots. The way I do the carrots, I don't really peel them. Some people peel them. You can peel them if you want. I don't peel them. Just cut the ends off here, like so. So make sure you wash them first. And then I'm just taking carrots are always fun because there's always one of these little wheels that's going to roll off somewhere into the kitchen floor, so just be aware of that. And I don't do them too thick. As you can see, most of these are pretty thin. They're not super thick. Anyways, we're just going to continue to cut these up. I'll show you what they're like when I'm done with them. Alright, I'm done cutting the carrots, and just as I predicted, about half dozen little wheels of these carrots rolled off somewhere here into the kitchen. I will probably find them a month or so later when I'm cooking or cleaning. So this is all the carrots here, all the buttercup squash, and all the rutabaga. I think we're going to call this full, and we're going to start another container. But as you can see, these are not super thick and also not uniform. That's okay. This one I could probably cut into half or something like that. But anyways, we're gonna get another container going and continue cutting. Next vegetable is the acorn squash. Another pretty simple, straightforward one. Don't be afraid because there's so many little indentions and crevices here. If you can't peel everything off, the skin is not going to kill you if you eat it. It's not going to make it super tough, especially if there's just little tiny bits. It'll be okay. It's more fiber for you. Anyways, what I do here is I just cut this top off here. And I'm going to try to just cut across here and get this little stem off. I think I'm cutting into the stem at that point, but oh well, that's okay. And just like the other one, we're just going to take and slice it across here and get off as much of this skin as we possibly can. Doesn't need to be super perfect, and like I said, there's a little bit of skin on it. It's not going to kill you. We'll tune back in once I get to the center, and we'll need to do some cleaning out of the, just like on the last squash, we'll have to clean out the inside of this. Alright, here's the acorn squash. As you can see, butchered it trying to get most of the skin off, but it's not the end of the world. And just kind of get some little nooks and crannies there. It's gonna be okay, not the end of the world. What I do at this point is I'll go right here and I just cut straight down the middle. And guess what we're gonna do here? We're gonna use the spoon and scrape this out. Scrape it out and get back to you and show you how I cut up the rest of this. All right, here we go. We got it cut out here. I'm gonna do just pretty much similar to the last one. And because I still have like a little bit of a stemage here, I'm gonna end up cutting this out at some point. But yeah, I like to do, it's probably a good 3 slices into this. Just set these to the side here. These, very simple. Done. Just like that. And these can be a little bit larger. This isn't as dense. Like I said, I don't peel this either. Just cut this end off, cut this end off into the trash, and then I slice them about 1/2 inch thick. Because these will cook up pretty quickly, but if you slice them about 1/2 inch, they stay pretty juicy. They're not all shriveled up and dried to the end of their life. And you know what? Got a little wild hair I think what I want to do here is slice these in half just like that, just so there's more of it to be dispersed throughout the dish. Boom. Now we're gonna work on the onion here. Onion, very simple. If you don't have an onion, that's fine. You don't have to do an onion. You can do garlic. I'm not gonna really worry about garlic because I eat so much garlic already. I just stink. I'm just gonna cut this end off here. Cut this end off here. Toss these in the trash. Get that little annoying outer layer of skin. If you don't, it's really bitter after you cook it. It's gross. So yeah, I got that off. And then how I cut my onion, I just do, and then do it like that. And then I do 1, 2. Same on this one, right down the middle, then 1, 2. And then I'll take and break these up with my hands and try to get a little dispersion. Let's see if you can kind of see this a little bit. Take these little rings and try to break them up and disperse them a little bit. I don't know why, but I love the taste of onions, oil, and salt. Is probably like one of my favorite combinations, especially the olive oil on it. It's really, honestly, I could probably eat the onions just raw. They don't bother me. Some people, they do. They will make your breath stink and your mouth hot. So, see what we got right here. Now for the final one, the beets. All right, here we are for the beets. I love beets. When you buy beets, they need to be like a little dirty. If they look polished and smooth, don't buy those. I feel like they don't taste good. Every time I get beets that are dirty looking and I have to wash some dirt and grit off of them, they always end up tasting a lot better. I don't know, maybe it's just a Walmart thing. Walmart probably does suspicious things to their produce. But what I do with the beets to peel them and cut them, just cut this top off. This little bottom little root going down, and then I do the same thing with the other ones, except these are a little bit more smaller, so we're just going to take and cut them, and then you can kind of peel like that and get little bits off at a time, or you might even be able to use a peeler and get this, but I'm a little bit better just doing the knife. I feel more comfortable. So anyways, we'll go ahead and peel these, and then I'll show you how to cut them up. Alright, here we are for the final leg of the show. I'm going to show you how to cut these beets up. We've already peeled them. The rubies of the vegetables. These I'm just going to also cut into small squares as well. So I'm just going to slice these in half. These are nice and small. I'll try to keep them in a line, a little bit easier to cut that way. Oh, slid out of line. You see how thick I'm cutting these? Not super thick. And then I'm just gonna go boop. Just like that. And then these ones that are left to be a little too thick. I mean, the beets are probably a lot harder than the rutabaga, I would guess. I'll show you how small I'm cutting these, but they don't need to be perfect. There's some, they'll cook down fine. But you'll see here. Let me see, make sure I'm doing it. Yeah. And that's not blood on my hands. That's from the beets. But you can see they're very small. These are some of the larger pieces, like this. And then here's some of the smaller pieces like that. But we're just gonna go ahead and cut the rest of these up. Like I said, I just cut them in half, then cut them into the slices, and then cut them cross section again. So we're gonna throw that in, and I'll show you what I got at the end. All right, here we are. We're done with the beets. You can kind of see, this is how they look here. It's little tiny pieces. We're just gonna throw these in, and it's probably be easier if we do it like this. Just all right, done with everything, and let me show you the final result of both tubs together. That looks nice. Here we go. Look at that. All these carrots, rutabagas, different types of squashes, onions. Like I said, once you cook with this, you'll feel more comfortable and you'll want to experiment with different kinds of vegetables and see what's more to your fitting. Now I'm going to show you what I like to do with these to kind of like so that you get a mixture. Make sure it's not going to come open. And you just take and then you'll see that when you go to grab handfuls of vegetables, you got a nice little mix here. Same thing for this one. This will get all bloody and red looking. You're not going to be able to see the inside of this. Vegetables that get stained red, but that's okay. So you can see it's nice and mixed, nice and mixed. I grab a handful of each. Grab a handful of each vegetable and then put them into the baking dish, and I'll show you how to do that next and how I cook them. Hey, so now I'm getting hungry, so I'm going to show you how I like to prepare these vegetables. I like to set my oven on baking. If you got a little mini oven like I have here, I have a little mini oven. I'm setting the temperature at 425 for 20 minutes, or on a regular oven you can set it for 425. When it's preheating or heating up, what you can do is, let me straighten this up. All right, so check this out. Look at all those vegetables. This is just for me. I'm gonna eat this. I'm also making some rice, and then let me show you here. What I like to do is we're gonna take and add some olive oil. And I washed my hands earlier with soap and water. Drizzle the olive oil, and you can alternatively you can put this in a mixing bowl, pour the oil in. I love black pepper, so I'm doing a lot of black pepper. We'll do some Italian seasoning, and I'm just kind of dousing it in there. I'm not really doing measurements. If you want to, you can do your own measurements. Might save you some money. And then now I'm going to do some salt. Don't worry about over salting. I mean, this is all the salt I'm using here. As you can see, it's quite a bit. A lot of it's going to cook off, and then just and then I just go in with my hands and just massage all the ingredients in on the vegetables. And there's one runaway, always. Always one that runs away. That's why sometimes it's good just to put it in a giant mixing bowl. But I'm just trying to save from having to wash another dish. I'm just being lazy. Doesn't that look good? So yeah, this is all mixed, covered with oil really well. And then we're gonna put it in the oven at 425. I do for 20 minutes. I take it out, rotate it around, and then do another 20 minutes. If it needs a little bit longer, I'll turn the oven off and just kind of leave the vegetables cooking in the oven. Once you can poke a fork through the beets or the rutabaga, you know the rest of the vegetables are done. That's kind of my rule of thumb. Anyways, hope this helps. Hope you guys check it out and enjoy, and I'll do a little short video showing you the final product when it's done with everything. Like I said, I got some rice and some naan bread cooking right now, so yeah, hope you guys enjoy this. Alright, here they are. Vegetables are done. As you can see, they are beautiful. You can use a fork here to check the doneness of them. Here, look, we got a rutabaga right there. And the fork just goes right in. Perfect. And same for the potatoes. Let's check a carrot. Carrot's nice and done. So, yeah. And we'll even look for some beets here. So the beets, ooh, that just kind of came apart there. Beets are nice and soft. Everything's done. It's great. I hope you guys enjoy this. This is really easy. I'm eating all this, and typically my parents, they don't eat as much as this. They might eat half. And if you have a bigger main course, you know, you can always have half. But I'm gonna have some rice and naan bread here in just a little bit. Let me know what you think down in the comments.